This is Roger Struckoff with Syscon TV, Day 2, Cloud Expo East in New York, in the year 2016. We've had many international guests today and yesterday, and we have another one now. We'd like to welcome William Morrish with Interoute, or Interoute, depending on what part of the world you're from. William, thanks for joining us. Tell everyone a little bit about what you do, what your company does, and why you're here, and then we can get into a little discussion.
Hey, Roger. Yeah, so my role is really working with customers, helping them work out how they're going through this digital transformation. So I spend a lot of time talking to banks, big industries, manufacturers, working through how they're integrating and transforming all of their IT platforms and moving them forward. It ties into what we do as a business. We've got this great big global network and a great big global cloud platform that, if you think about the public cloud, AWS and Azure, it's all about public cloud stuff. There's a huge amount of infrastructure that's not public. What we really focus on is tying all of this together. It's a holistic enterprise platform of tying stuff all the way around the world into the enterprise service architecture, of which bit of it's public, but a huge amount of it is also private as well.
So you're based in London. There are financial institutions in London, I believe, and it does a little bit of business there. So who are these? You don't have to name the customers, but I'm going to imagine you have some big sophisticated ones, and you also have customers outside of London that are in the same sort of league.
Yeah, very much. So we tend to be more about international. So I'm based in London, but we operate in 135 countries or so. So it's a wide thing. I think some of our customers, people like the European Space Agency, we help them with their networks and bits of their cloud. People like UEFA, so we do all of their online systems. So anything that you watch during any soccer matches, Interoute does about 98% of the technology and bits that hide behind them. So for us, it's international businesses. They're the ones that often have the biggest challenges about how to do things, and that's really the niche and the speciality where Interoute focuses.
So he said soccer. He did it for the American audience. Very, very good. You had talked to me off camera about roadmaps. It is kind of funny. It does seem sometimes that people just go to the C-suite and say, we need to migrate to the cloud. They must get tired of hearing that. You must get tired of hearing that. How do you address that?
Oh, it's amusingly frustrating. Here we are at Cloud Expo. Everyone's talking about the cloud. And it's amazing that there's an entire industry around this, and yet there's no real definition of actually what the cloud is. I think when you talk to somebody about the cloud, it's often synonymous with the likes of AWS and Azure, and on the public side. But you then speak to most CIOs, and they actually think that what they've gone and built in VMware on site is also their own private cloud. They then think about the managed service providers as being something in between. And this move to the cloud, I personally think a lot of it is nonsense in the terms of what an IT team is trying to do, or what a C-level team is trying to do. It's all about redefining and redesigning the whole of your infrastructure. Cloud is a spanner, it's a tool, it's a wrench. It's not the solution to everything. It's really just a tool set that's new, that's right for a lot of things, but certainly not right for all things. And I think this is the thing. Nobody is moving whole scale from on-site, managed themselves, to the public cloud. It's a matter of using these new tools to be used in the correct way. And for us, it really comes back to building an integration framework, building a platform that ties all of this together.
Well, as we discussed earlier, not everyone's Richard Branson or Elon Musk, but there's a lot of companies that really are trying to transform, and that's one thing you're doing. You know, this may seem like an obvious question, but maybe it's a difficult one. You know, why do companies wish to achieve digital transformation? Why?
I think speed, efficiency, cost, in effect, bottom line savings or top line profit. I think if you look at Big Yellow Taxi in New York, why would they want to be Uber? Well, if they'd thought about it 5 years ago, it would have been to bring in top line profit and to change themselves as a business. Right now, if you're running a taxi firm, you're desperately digitally transforming for the fact that Uber will kill you unless you are able to give a higher level of service. I think for the enterprise digital transformation is really just about using technologies to be better, faster, quicker, cheaper. And it's all about that. What can technology bring as a business to do that? I think the interesting thing that's been happening for the CIO recently is that the IT budget has been starting to move away from the IT department. Lots of shadow IT, lots of things happening away from the CIO. And what needs to happen now is one of enablement. The CIO and the IT team need to be platform enablers that can actually say, you know what, development team, great. Here's some of the stuff that we've got, and it ties into our overall architecture that we've got as a business, rather than go away and design it yourself, and then as an IT team, you've just got to work out how to stitch it together.
You know, there's all these statistics about a certain percentage of Fortune 500 or Global 2000 companies that were on that list 20 years ago are like gone now.
Yeah.
High percentage. That probably scares a lot of people, I imagine. And then with Shadow IT, it's like if the other guys aren't going to do you in, your own people might do you in. So that's sort of a motivational factor. That's kind of a negative motivational factor. What are the sort of positives that you bring when you're really talking to a company about, okay, look, we're going to get away from the buzzwords, and this is what we're going to do. How do you give them that sort of positive reinforcement that what you're doing is the correct thing?
I think it comes back to the transformational piece. How much of your day as a CIO, as an IT team, do you spend on fixing stuff that's broken? A huge amount. If you're in the operational side, Christ, your day is spent fixing stuff. And then it's like, right, how much time have you got to fundamentally change the business? Not a lot. Maybe the weekends when you should be spending time with your family and kids. And this is the bit where, if you think about this transformation and you think about starting to outsource stuff, part of it could be about staff. Inevitably, a lot of these things tend to be. But the largest point is like the infrastructure. If you can outsource physical infrastructure to somebody else, you can then start to focus on the application. And the application is inevitably the bit that drives the business. That's the bit where, as an IT team, if you focus on the applications, the internal stuff, or what your business does, again, Big Yellow Taxi Cab, they could have done an app like Uber 5 years ago, and look at where they would have been now. They would be worth 42 billion or so. Concentrate on the app, on the stuff that you know about, outsource the rest of it. And underneath, there's going to be some public cloud, there's going to be Interoute, there's going to be others. And it's all about outsourcing the right stuff and focusing on what your business does best.
So what's your URL, and what are other ways that, I guess that's the way they can contact you or find you, URL, and where else can they find the company?
Yeah, definitely. So the URL is www.interoute, or route, interoute.com, or cloudstore.interoute.com. Go there, we'd love to have a chat and speak to you.
Beautiful. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. For Syscon TV, this is Roger Struckoff.